From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your morning update.
Meats and Grocery is much more than a grocery store. We carry a full line of quality meats, local and organic vegetables, and a large variety of fish, Green Mountain Smart Control pellet grills, and a full deli case of sandwiches and side dishes.
Happy Tuesday morning to you. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Kruger. Real quick note, just want to remind you, you see my hand go over here, there's a keyboard that advances the maps. Unfortunately, my clicker just decided to stop working this morning and I couldn't get it to work properly. So that'll be a project for me today. But in the meantime, just keep in mind I've got to advance the maps this way with the keyboard. All right, so let's get you the weather headlines. Dry and mild through most of the week. We've got low clouds, fog on the coast here, developing really by tonight and into tomorrow, but still dry. There, of course, maybe some drizzle in there for some of you along the coast, but elsewhere, I mean, sunny skies, a few high clouds coming in on Thursday. It's Friday. Yes, that's the day we still expect to see some of those showers move in. And I tell you what, it's going to stick around through the weekend, it looks like, and even going into most likely next week as well. So that cooler, or should I say wetter pattern, really does start to move in here as we take you into even next week as well. All right, so here's a look at Kruger's Quickcast for your Tuesday, January 29th. You know, heading out the door this morning, here's what we've got. These temperatures are going to be on the cold side this morning. I think we're going to see some frost here for even the valley, but of course in the teens and 20s for those higher elevations. And of course the coast looking at some pretty cold temperatures too, with temperatures there in the low 30s. So what we've got here right now is this big ridge of high pressure. So that's keeping us dry, that's keeping us warm as well. The area of low pressure that was over Southern California yesterday, that's slowly shifting to the east. So our winds are dying down. But you look at the activity, you're like, there's nothing going on. Where's the rain you're talking about? Well, it's all back here. What we've got to do is move this ridge to the east, which it will continue to migrate eastward, and this will allow these storms off to our west to begin to move in. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the winds first and foremost, because yeah, we still have in the back of our minds the winds we saw this past weekend. It was a little breezy for some, especially in the foothills yesterday, but today you can see the winds really aren't that much of a problem. In fact, they won't be a problem even as we take you into tomorrow morning as well. All right, so here's a look at Futurecast here, at least as we take you through to this evening. Now, as we go into about 5 o'clock, we may start to see some fog developing in the Humboldt Bay here and even to the south here. But otherwise, we're still looking at mainly clear skies here as we take you through the day today elsewhere. I mean, even the coast, I mean, you're still looking at the mainly sunny skies, but eventually by tomorrow morning, we're starting to see that fog begin to kind of make its way in. That fog will most likely stick around here through the day on Wednesday and most likely even your Thursday as well. All right, so here's what we have in store for us today. Those temperatures are going to be the mid to upper 40s for your daytime highs off to the east. For the coast here, you're looking at those temperatures probably somewhere in the low to mid 50s. And of course, the valley, looking at some pretty warm weather again, or should we say mild, temperatures somewhere in the low 60s. All right, so here's your 7-day outlook. You see how we've got the dry conditions through Thursday. Those showers will start to kick in. Now, Monday looks like we may see a bit of a break, but still a chance that we could see some showers kind of move in here on Monday. But I think the main event, at least with the best chance for showers, will be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And for the coast, you'll probably still be looking at those showers on Monday. Now for Siskiyou, Modoc, and the Eastern Mountains, again, notice the snow levels. They're starting off around 3,000 to 4,000 feet. That's because we still have that colder air in place, but as that warmer, more subtropical moisture begins to move in, that'll mix out that colder air, and we'll start to see those snow levels begin to climb. And I may be adjusting these to be even a little bit higher, but I do expect to see some snow, most likely on the Mount Shasta Ski Park. More on that a little bit later. But that's a look at Kruger's Quickcast. Do want to give you a quick reminder, there is a free Weather NorCal app. You can download it free today from your iPhone or your Android device. Just go to your app store, search for Weather NorCal. You'll see this logo right here. Click on that to install. And as I mentioned, install it for free and you've got everything you need right there. All right, let's take a look at the big picture again. Once again, I mean, just a big, broad ridge of high pressure over the western United States in general. These milky shades of gray here, what that is not clouds, it's cold air. Keep in mind, this is the infrared satellite image, so it detects temperature. within the clouds. And of course, from there, it gets a color table to kind of give you the, for example, these lighter shades. Those are colder temperatures. These shades right here are going to be warmer temperatures, but again, it's so cold that it's picking up as a cloud. That's not the case. So yes, we are seeing these cold morning lows, but pretty mild here as we go through the afternoon. But as I mentioned, we go off to the west here, we begin to see that this is all the activity here that will eventually begin to move in here by the end of the week. Now again, as I mentioned, those winds, they're not a factor today. They're not a factor even for tomorrow as well. Let's take you through the day on Wednesday. Still looking at about 5, 10, maybe 15 miles per hour in some cases. But as the approaching storm system comes in on Thursday, yeah, now we've got those winds beginning to pick up here for the coast. And of course, you're looking at Shasta Valley there. Could be looking at some gusty winds there for central Siskiyou County. All right, let's take a look at Futurecast here. As mentioned, I think we're going to see some of that fog developing here for parts of Humboldt Bay, but elsewhere, clear skies, sunny skies today, clear skies tonight, sunny skies for tomorrow. However, again, you'll notice that fog kind of developing along the coast tomorrow morning, and you see how it just kind of hugs the coast through the day on Wednesday. It will hug the coast through the day on Thursday as well. But another thing you'll begin to notice here, look behind me, there it is. There's that first batch of rain beginning to move in. So as early as late Thursday afternoon, early evening, we may start to see some showers developing for parts of the coast, but it's mainly going to be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and possibly into your Monday as well. All right, so you've got those cooler than normal conditions here in the longer range. That is certainly something that is going to continue to be the pattern here. Now, we're also looking at wetter than normal conditions here. We've got some rain in the forecast. And as we look at the longer range, this is the area of low pressure, by the way, that was responsible, along with, of course, working with this area of high pressure for the gusty winds that we saw over the weekend, and of course the showers that were over Southern California yesterday. All of this energy here, all of this activity here is going to be shifting to the east. So that high pressure will still be in place tomorrow. This is the approaching storm system coming in. Now, typically what we've been dealing here with the last several weeks is we've had this blocking ridge of high pressure. All the storms have been riding up and over that ridge and kind of breaking apart before they get over us, and we've remained dry. But the good news is, as we go into Thursday, look what's happening. That ridge of high pressure is shifting eastward. This rain is approaching. That rain moves in on Friday, and then look at this. We've got one system after another, and we're looking at atmospheric river type characteristics. You see how that moisture is just all coming in from the southwest. Now again, we initially had that colder air in place on Friday, keeping those snow levels lower, but then they start to rise as we get more of this warmer subtropical moisture moving in through the weekend. And you can kind of see how it kind of tilts a little bit here. So the chances for rain to the south in our area are going to be slimmer than places to the north, northwest. And of course, you'll see that a little bit more detail looking at the 7-day outlooks. Now, another thing we got to watch here is this area of low pressure right here. The positioning of this, we're looking at next Tuesday, by the way. The positioning of this is really going to have an impact on the type of precipitation we see, the snow, the rain. But what we're seeing right now is you've got this colder air, you've got the flow around the area of low pressure, and it's tapping into that moisture and continuing to bring us more rain as we take you into even early next week. So this is just a welcome sight, folks. We've got the rain, we've got the snow in the higher elevations. But look at the moisture content. This is looking at the amount of available moisture in the atmosphere. All right, so these brown colors, that's the drier air. These yellows, oranges, and reds, that's the more moist air, all right? So that's what we're dealing with right now. You can see just how dry it is with those brown colors over Northern California. Then what's happening is we've got this atmospheric river that's beginning to kind of push our way. So by Friday, you've got the main flow right here, and this is very moist air, by the way. I mean, you're getting kind of in those purple colors here. Then it kind of moves into our direction. Of course, we've got that atmospheric river and the source of moisture for the rain and snow that we will see. Now, what you'll notice here, you see how it just kind of all pretty much stays aimed right at Northern California through the weekend and even into early next week. It's trying to shift to the south, but we still have a little bit of influence here even for Tuesday of next week. And by the way, This is that area of low pressure I was talking about. It's a cold system, but very dry. But this is a classic setup for us to see these massive snow events, right? Where you have the cold air that taps into that moisture and you get the two, and that really helps to bring the snow. Now, we're still gonna have to watch this. I'm not saying that there's gonna be a big snowstorm, but what I'm saying is that's kind of a classic setup, but that's just kind of a clear example of the colder air, the drier air that's typically associated with these colder storm systems, but we still have that influence of that subtropical moisture coming in from the south and west. So a lot of things to be watching here. Now, you know, we talk about the atmospheric river, and again, for those of you that are new to this channel, I don't hype things. I do not overhype things at all. And the term atmospheric river has been hijacked, if you will, by a lot of media sources, even on social media as well. Atmospheric river is not a doom and gloom term, all right? I want you to remember that whenever I'm talking about it, because that's not the case that we're talking about here, all right? One thing to remember, and a lot of these media organizations and social media people don't tell you about the fact that there are 5 categories of atmospheric rivers, 1 through 5, 1 being the weakest, 5 being the strongest. So look where we are. We're in that weak category. Now, there are indications that we may see it kind of get up into that moderate category. Now, that's something to pay attention to, because yesterday it was all in the weak category. We're seeing it kind of bump up a little bit here. So what that means is we could quite possibly at times, especially as we get to the, say, Friday, not necessarily concerned, but as we start getting into Saturday, Sunday, we've got to watch for the potential for maybe some mudslides and debris flows, because if we get that steady rain in some areas, that could create some problems. So that's something worth watching, and we'll continue to monitor here the strength. I don't anticipate that this atmospheric river event that we're going to be dealing with here as we go into the weekend is ever going to reach the category 3, but I think it could get into the category 2. And once again, that would mean the potential for some mudslides and debris flows in some areas here. I mean, we're going to see some decent rain coming out of this, and snow, that's still a big question mark, because we still got to really monitor what those snow levels are looking like. And we'll talk about that here in just a bit. Take this with a grain of salt, but this just kind of gives you an idea. Where are we seeing most of the rain? Typically to the north and west, especially out towards Del Norte County. We're seeing some of that shadowing that we typically see. So yes, we'll still see some decent rain for everybody in the valley, but I think, say, places like Redding will see more rain than Chico. And then, of course, we've got that orographic lifting. That wind moves up those mountains and it squeezes out more moisture. And again, the typical spots that don't see as much rain and snow is right up here. And again, that's all typical. So this is all pretty standard here when we're talking about where we'll see the most rain and the least amount of rain. Now, we've been watching those lake levels here for the last several weeks here. We're still in the historical average doing quite fine. And we're quite okay as far as the overall levels that we're seeing right now. So nothing to be concerned about there. All right, let's take a look at that ski report, and you can see here we've been watching this number diminish. And I was actually out there yesterday for my son's ski alpine race. There's still a lot of snow up there, folks. There's still snow, but we're starting to see that between the snow and the ground, it's not looking as deep as I think many people would like to see. Now, they've been making snow, and that's great, but it'd be nice to get a good dumping of snow. Now, again, I want to show you this because these are numbers I put in myself, but just to kind of give you an idea here, I think the ski park through this weekend and into early next week could see anywhere from 10 to even 20 inches of snow once all is said and done. Now, some of the snow levels are indicating that they could be higher than parts of the ski park, 6, even 7,000 feet. At this point, I feel pretty confident that even at the base of the ski park, which is 5,500 feet, could still be looking at snow for the most part. There may be times it may be kind of that slushy snow at the base of the ski park, but I think for the most part, when the precipitation is moving through, it will mainly be in the form of snow. So I think this is going to be a saving grace for this season for a lot of people here at the ski park, because I do think that this is going to bring us a good amount of snow here, I think, for the ski park. All right, let's take a look at those wave heights, and you'll see here that they are going to stay fairly low here for today. They're going to stay fairly low for your Wednesday as well. We'll probably start to see them increase on Thursday into Friday as that storm system approaches. There's a marine forecast. South winds at about 5 knots. Waves from the northwest at 3 feet at 7 seconds, and from the west at 2 feet at about 13 seconds. There's your high and your low tide as well. All right, here's your Trinity County neighborhood forecast. You've got those temperatures mid to upper 50s, and of course there's that rain coming in. Again, notice the snow levels. They're starting off around 3,000 feet, but then they're climbing. Again, that warmer subtropical air, moisture, that's moving in. That mixes out the colder air, and as a result, we see those snow levels begin to rise here. So that's one of the things with these atmospheric rivers that we tell you about. Atmospheric rivers is warm, moist air. That's the bottom line. So when that all takes control and just mixes out the colder that we may have in place, then you're talking fairly high snow levels. 55 degrees out towards Rio Dell, 57 in Blue Lake today, 59 in Gas Key. What you'll notice here when you look at the 7-day forecast across the board, it's dry through Thursday, but then the rain coming in by Friday. Now, as I mentioned, and we saw that earlier, maybe as early as Thursday evening for the coast, but again, it's going to be Thursday night into Friday that we'll start to see that rain and snow begin to kick in here. There you can see Mount Shasta, looking at, of course, that rain and snow. 44 degrees for Tule Lake, 46 for Canby, 48 degrees for Alturas, and 45 out in Fort Bidwell. All right, here's your Eastern Mountains neighborhood forecast. 50 degrees for Chester, 41 degrees for Westwood, Paradise about 56 degrees. Snow levels eventually up to 6,000 feet for parts of the Eastern Mountains, and maybe even higher than that, quite honestly. Looking at your Valley neighborhood forecast, brought to you by Walgamith Painting. Your temperatures in the low 60s, and this is new to Weather NorCal. Look at that. Oroville is now included in the 7-day forecast here, and including a bigger screen. Yes, a full screen 7-day forecast for Chico. Temperatures upper 50s for your Wednesday and Thursday, low 50s for Friday. And there you can see for your Groundhog Day on Sunday, yes, chance for showers, and then of course on Monday, a continued chance for showers. Let's take you up to the north here. Of course, Whiskeytown about 61, 62 degrees for Lakehead, Bella Vista about 63, and there's your Red Bluff 7-day forecast. Let's go and take a look at your Redding 7-day forecast. Those temperatures will be in the upper 50s by Thursday, low to mid 50s. Now again, remember I was talking about that warmer, more subtropical moisture begins to move in. So we're starting off fairly cool on Friday, but then that warmer subtropical moisture begins to overtake the area, and we begin to mix out that colder air, and temperatures will actually increase despite the fact that we've got that rain coming in as we go into Saturday, Sunday, and even into Monday. That's your morning update. I'll be back again at noon. Have a great morning.
Wiggly mouth.
Woggy mouth.
No.
Painting.
Wiggy mouth.
It's Woogie Mouth Painting.
It's Walgamith Painting, and yes, we'll paint anything.